If I don't love you, perhaps you should blame yourself. Okay, let's get into this. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. If you haven't already, be sure to smash that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Today, we're going into the newest news from Sister Wives star Janelle Brown. She's sharing about her own personal struggles, her new beginning in North Carolina, and the one individual who's been assisting her throughout it all. And trust me, the details may shock you. For almost 3 decades, Janelle shared a plural marriage with Cody Brown and the rest of their non-traditional family. But it all came crashing down when Cody began putting everything before his family, making their relationship strained and distant. Tired of it all, Janelle finally took the daring step to break their spiritual union and take charge of her own happiness. Since saying goodbye to Cody in late 2022, Janelle's been keeping busy rebuilding her life from the ground up. And it hasn't been simple. One of her biggest changes, moving to North Carolina to be near her kids. But this is where it gets good. Even something as simple as getting a good hairstylist and a good personal trainer became challenges. And if you've ever relocated to a new town, you know exactly what she's talking about. But don't worry, Janelle's not one to turn tail from a challenge. In a recent Instagram story, she explained how difficult it's been settling into her new life, saying, "When you move to a new town, it's always a struggle to find a good hair person and a good personal trainer." And here's the best part. She included a sincere plug for her own personal trainer, Jared Akers, who has ridden shotgun with her through all this. Janelle even tweeted a screenshot of a text chain with Jared where he asked to check in with her workouts and updates. Her response? No, on track. Happy you kind of challenged me to make some goals for myself. Appreciate you holding me accountable. And that's a big deal. Holding yourself accountable isn't easy, especially when you're juggling personal upheaval, a major move, and a brand new chapter in life. But Janelle's doing exactly that. She's taking responsibility, setting goals, and showing us all what resilience really looks like. The last 3 years since she broke up with Cody have seen their share of ups and downs in Janelle's life. But for all that, she's remained committed to making a life for herself that belongs to her and her alone. And if the latest updates on her life are anything to go by, she's doing all right. So what are your thoughts on Janelle's makeover and new life in North Carolina? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. And don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe for more news on your favorite reality celebrities. See you in the next video. It hasn't been an easy road for Janelle Brown. The heartbreaking loss of her adult son, Garrison Brown, left her devastated. But in the midst of unimaginable grief, Janelle has found the strength to rebuild her life and honor his memory in meaningful ways. And trust me, you'll want to hear what she's been up to. With renewed purpose, Janelle has dove into self-care, embarking on a new exercise routine and even beginning her own business, Tata Farms. Struggling at first to find a decent fitness trainer in her new city, she eventually hooked up with trainer Jared Akers. And the payoff is starting to add up. And here's where it really gets interesting. Sister Wives viewers have been swarming Janelle's social media with praise, not only for her noticeable weight loss, but for her glowing, healthy-looking skin. It appears that this new era of her life is agreeing with her inside and out. But Janelle's not resting yet. Refusing to plateau her makeover, she's adopting a harder, no-nonsense attitude. She's challenged Jared to keep her in check, even if it means dishing out some hard love. And if we know one thing about Janelle, when she gets her mind set on something, she's committed. In our latest look at her fitness journey, it's clear that Janelle has moved from casual tries to a structured, goal-oriented approach. She's no longer experimenting with occasional workouts. She's consistently sticking to her routine, following her schedule, and even working out on the road. That level of commitment is just what's going to power her long-term success. Now here's a surprise you didn't expect. Fans have also been abuzz with Janelle's honest opinions about family relationships, especially when it comes to Cody's wife, Robyn. You won't believe what she just shared. For years, Janelle slaved away for the Brown family, putting her own share of effort and sacrifice into providing the best life she could for their children. But in Janelle's estimation, Robyn wasn't really doing her share. In fact, Janelle didn't mince words when she claimed Robyn was a gold digger, one who profited from the work of the family without contributing very much. When the family was going through their toughest times, Janelle asserts Robyn was particularly absent, as the rest of them bore the brunt of their shared responsibilities. And in season 19 of Sister Wives, when Janelle relocated to North Carolina to begin anew, she finally revealed the nature of her relationship with Robyn. So here's the question fans are asking. Does Janelle truly believe Robyn was exploiting the family for personal gain? Is there more to this story than what we've seen on TV? Stay tuned, because if Janelle's recent honesty is any clue, there are still plenty of secrets left to be uncovered. What do you make of Janelle's new bold direction and her honest opinion of Robyn? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss the scoop on your favorite reality TV personalities. We've got more shocking updates in store for you. Now here's the question that's been causing Sister Wives viewers everywhere to get riled up. Why in the world does Janelle think what she thinks about Robyn? And what has she actually said? Buckle up, because this is going to get personal. Amidst deciphering years of complex family dynamics, Janelle has also been taking time to reflect on her spiritual path. As viewers are aware, Sister Wives has always combined religion and family. And once, Mary Brown was the first to formally ask for a spiritual release from church, something to cut off all contact with Cody and start anew for good. But here's the surprise. Christine did not feel a release was necessary because she'd already moved away from the Mormon religion several years ago. That left Janelle in a special place as the last remaining ex-wife still spiritually tied to Cody. And in a charged sit-down in Coyote Pass, Janelle and Mary confronted that head-on. Mary encouraged Janelle to think about getting a spiritual release of her own and even invited her to go to the church with her. To Mary, it was the only means by which Janelle could heal completely, regain her independence, and accept a new beginning. Janelle admitted that it was something she had been considering. And this tender moment between the former sister wives was a turning point. But just when you thought the drama couldn't get any thicker, it did. Janelle never minced words in showing her ire at Robyn's extravagance. Seasoned viewers have witnessed it unfold on television for years. Cody and Robyn's luxurious lifestyle contrasted with what the other wives had to make do with. And let's not forget the time Cody fondly referred to Robyn as his diesel jeans model, placing her on a pedestal while the rest of them battled. At a recent confession, Janelle let loose with her honest opinion, labeling Robyn a gold digger and spilling the anger she's had for so many years. She spoke candidly of how she, Christine, and Mary worked for decades to keep the family business going just to have Robyn come along and profit from it once things stabilized. Janelle remembered those hard early years, a period when finances were lean, bills accumulated, and the family had to share what little they had just to get by. She depicted vividly those sacrifices, narrating how she used to do with less by recycling old garments, and even went so far as to use diaper pins to hold together her worn-out bras because new ones were beyond her budget. And just like that, it's clear why emotions are still raw. The disparity between years of hardship and Robyn's more affluent lifestyle has not been missed, and Janelle's finally opening her mouth about it. So here's the big question for you. Is Janelle right about Robyn? Was she taking advantage of the family while everyone else sacrificed? And will a spiritual release finally give Janelle the closure she deserves? Share your thoughts in the comments. We've got a lot to unpack. And before you leave, don't forget to like that button, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss another update on your favorite Sister Wives drama. More jaw-dropping reveals are on their way. Despite the fact that Robyn got all of Cody's attention, Janelle made it very clear. She thought her former sister wife was only ever in it for the money. And the fans? Well, they've been suspecting the same thing for years. Fans have long wondered about Robyn's motives and questioned why she never seemed to want to really connect with the other wives. And now, It seems like those long simmering suspicions are finally being validated. But while tensions over Robyn's position in the family continue to simmer, the new installment of the Sister Wives saga takes a heartbreaking, emotional turn. In a profoundly poignant new episode, but while tensions over Robyn's position in the family continue to simmer, the new installment of the Sister Wives saga takes a heartbreaking, emotional turn. In a profoundly poignant new episode, the Brown family gathers for something no parent, sibling, or loved one should ever have to experience: a memorial for a beloved son whose loss has left the entire family shaken. And here's what makes this episode unforgettable. On a day normally reserved for mothers, grief falls long. With the Brown family, formerly separated by geography and barriers of the heart, now reunified, there's a weight to the occasion. It's a reunion years in the making, one born of sorrow, but one formed by long-awaited harmony. There's a silence from the beginning, a stillness. Not only for the lost loved one, but for the broken relationships that somehow seem tiny when bound together by shared loss. The arguments, the jealousy, and the misunderstandings that once appeared so huge now become insignificant in contrast to what is really important. Throughout the episode, audiences see raw vulnerability not often viewed in the long-running show. Janelle and her deceased spiritual husband, Cody, remember their deceased son with quiet strength and agonizing dignity. After years of existing under a microscope, the family retreats inward, whispering among themselves, reminiscing, and sharing thoughts long submerged beneath the gaze of the public eye. And for the audience, it's a glimpse into a holy place, one where hurt is real, memories are treasured, and loss unites hearts in a way that nothing else can. Family members describe how they heard the devastating news. Hands shake, voices crack, and faces are etched with a sadness that cannot be expressed. It's a pain no family should have to go through, but from it, they find each other again. What used to be a household struggling to strike a balance of plural relations now stands as a family brought together by calamity. Ultimately, it's no longer a question of structure or titles. It's a question of the permanent tie between the people who have the same suffering in their hearts and the same memories in their heads. So, what are the implications of all this on the future of the Brown family? Can tragedy repair where discord rent? And will deep-seated grudges, such as Janelle's with Robyn, ever really diminish? One thing for certain, Sister Wives has embarked upon a chapter of history unlike any previous one, and the fans are seeing a family forever transformed. Behind each reality TV star is a tale mostly untold. One of them is that of a young man who carried inner struggles in quiet dignity, familiar to those around him for his wit, compassionate heart, animal lover, and selfless commitment to giving to others. Though his struggles were rarely depicted on Sister Wives, dedicated fans always felt his presence, lingering as a subtle force in the background. His untimely death left the Brown family broken, and the audience with questions that went unanswered. But more than that, it left a legacy of love, kindness, and a reminder of the unseen battles we never even get to see. Janelle, his mom, appears with the bravery of a heartbroken mother. Her voice is tender, yet firm, as she reveals his last requests and those painfully unendurable days afterwards. Trembling hands and a mother's heart that is still sore, she remembers making preparations to bid him farewell, respecting his choice of cremation, and organizing a private farewell with only his closest friends and kin. And then Cody, a once larger-than-life, in-your-face figure. In the midst of unimaginable tragedy, the man the audience believed they knew shows them a more subdued, bare-bones man. He whispers his desire for his son to be sent back to a spot close to where the family originated, to lie near a dearly loved elder, if only temporarily. The moment lays bare how profoundly grief humbles, silences ego, and redraws the lines of family. This was not an ordinary day. The memorial was broadcasted on Mother's Day, a bitter irony lost on no one. A day normally filled with flowers, brunches, and phone calls was instead filled with tear-stained faces and the unbearable burden of bearing a child. It was a poignant reminder that to be a mother is not always about happiness. It's about surviving the unthinkable. The entire extended family convened. Christine, whose path to independence had once led her far from the family fold, stood with Mary, who long walked a lone way of her own. Even those who at one time opted to remain silent rather than connected were standing side by side. It was a bitter turn of events that such tragedy was what ultimately repaired broken bonds. As Mary gravely pondered, it shouldn't take death to fix what's broken. A reality that resonated through the hearts of everyone watching. The formerly sharply drawn lines of devotion, anger, and separation muddied through mutual sorrow. Siblings that had not been speaking for months hugged. Lingering animosities yielded to soft tears. Not resolution, but a temporary respite. A moment's breathing room between suffering and tentative beginnings toward mend. The private ceremony, shared quietly with viewers, wasn't stuffed with grand speeches or over-the-top declarations. Rather, it provided a humble, beautiful tribute to a life snuffed out. Favorite songs played softly in the background. A slideshow of precious moments flashed across a screen. A handwritten note was read aloud in shaking voices. Ashes were spread as the sun set, diffusing the horizon and closing the book on a chapter in the Brown family's messy saga. And yet, as the series reminded us softly, there's no such thing as real closure when a life is cut too short. What's left isn't an end, but a start. A soft collective vow to show up, to check in before it's too late, and to hold one another a little tighter. Around social media, the responses flooded in. From viewers all over the globe came messages of shared sorrow, of encouragement, of empathy. And it became bigger than a moment on television. It became something that reminded us of our shared humanity. So what's next for the Brown family? Can this grief truly bridge old divides? And will their shared promise to stay connected last beyond the pain? One thing is for sure, this is a chapter that's changed them forever. Words of compassion and introspection flowed in after the show aired. A wave of empathy for a father viewed now from the warmer, refracting prism of loss. For siblings left stunned and reeling in shock, and most tragically, for a mother who never should have to bury her child. Viewers were not just grieving with the Brown family, but looking inward, thinking about their own families, their own silences, and the unwritten words. Most of them hoped that this moment could spark someone, somewhere, to call before it's too late, and that it could be more than just a chapter in a years-long reality series, but a gentle reminder to call the people we care about, to repair frayed relationships, and to recall how short life really is. This episode differs from the innumerable others that have detailed the highs and lows of the Brown family, not just due to its heavy content, but due to its authenticity. It didn't attempt to package bereavement with a tidy, reassuring conclusion. It didn't sensationalize the grief or capitalize on mourning. Rather, it merely gave space to feel, to mourn, to acknowledge pain without hastily resolving it. And in doing so, it provided a reminder that behind the cameras, beyond the editing and on-screen drama, these are real people experiencing heartbreaks just like the rest of us. Death, as this episode so painfully reminded us, is the great equalizer. It strips away ego, past mistakes, and petty conflicts, leaving only love, even when that love is expressed through sorrow. At the end, instead of commercial time, the screen dissolved into a soft reminder, a plea for anyone whose battle is private to call out, to scream, to look up, and to remember that there is no shame in not doing it alone. It was lovely to pay a tribute not only to a gone son, but also to those present still, working in silence silently to bear their own loads. In the end, this wasn't a goodbye. It was an appeal. To each and every one of us to hold our loved ones a little closer, to speak the words we've been too afraid to say, and to never let time slip away. Because the reality is, we never know how much of it we have left. And in the midst of all this sorrow, a woman who once constructed a life in the desert has started writing a new page for herself. Having spent decades mired in a complicated, emotionally intense, polygamous marriage, Janelle Brown took the courageous step of charting a new course. She abandoned the snow-covered peaks, the knotted spiritual bonds, and the emotional baggage of a shared existence and turned toward the peaceful shores of the East Coast. In the quiet corners of North Carolina, where sea breeze speaks softly of new beginnings, and the tall trees seem to sing with the promise of do-overs, she's discovering her footing. It wasn't a simple relocation. It wasn't a break clean. But in those still Carolina mornings, Janelle is finding herself as a mother, a businesswoman, and a woman learning to shape life on her own terms. That although he was no longer there, his spirit would forever traverse her life. Janelle's loss, although huge, was a silent driving force behind her makeover, not only physically, but emotionally and spiritually. In an emotional post she wrote on social media, she confessed that certain days were irresistibly overwhelming. The smallest things, such as a song in the background or the smell of his favorite dish, could trigger her sanity. But instead of letting the grief consume her, she decided to let it remind her of the love that previously occupied her home. That loss, as terrible as it was evidence of a bond so profound it created a hurt in its absence. And as each week passed in her new town, unfamiliar streets became second nature. The clerk at the local grocery store started to recognize her face. The barista on the street corner remembered her coffee order. The trainer who had felt so foreign, sending her daily affirmations, became a consistent presence in her life, prodding her to show up not only for herself, but for the boy she loved with such ferocity. This wasn't just a tale of a woman losing weight or breaking free of an intricate marriage. It was the tale of a woman reclaiming herself, piece by piece, tear by tear, mile by mile, of finding power not in the lack of grief, but in bearing it with dignity. In one simple post, Janelle wrote, "Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without breaking." And although the path forward is still long, with milestones yet to be achieved and sorrow still new in her breast, she treads it a little taller now. Each new dawn on those Carolina beaches is a testament to her strength, each step toward wellness, a silent tribute to the sun she bears in her heart. But discovered the strength to keep going, knowing that every step, however small, was a triumph. The still moments, the ones spent thinking while digging in the earth or taking a walk in the cool morning air, were the places where she discovered her healing. Her sorrow was still always with her, but it no longer controlled her. Her mission was now grounded in something greater than herself, her family, her business, her future. It was no longer about attempting to measure up to others' standards or live up to the requirements of a complex marriage. Janelle's journey was now one of regaining control over her life, of building something that would transcend her suffering and be a reminder of the strength that she, her children, and her loved ones had all demonstrated. Her business, Tata Farms, became a reflection of her strength. It was something more than a business, something to give back to the people, to care for the land, and leave a legacy upon which her children could one day stand proudly. The crops she harvested, the love she cultivated, and the improvements she brought in her life were all a symbol of rebirth, a beginning anew after a long time, dwelling in the shades of sorrow and complicated family dynamics. But this trip wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about being the perfect mom, wife, and businesswoman. It was about being present for herself, for her children, and for the future she was creating. The strength Janelle exemplified in each moment, from the tiniest to the biggest, was a testament to a woman who had finally found her voice, her purpose, and her peace. Janelle Brown's story is one of resilience, transformation, and hope. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always room for growth, healing, and change. If you've been inspired by her journey, hit that subscribe button, share your thoughts, and join the conversation. Let's continue supporting one another every step of the way. Tears, frustration, and even guilt over enjoying life after great loss. All of these followed Janelle along the way. But buried in each vulnerable moment was a silent, irrefutable triumph. She had shed the burden of other people's expectations, endured unthinkable suffering, and decided to celebrate her loss not by going back, but by going on. With each grueling step, Janelle came out tougher. Her connection with her personal trainer turning into something more than mere physical development. It was a reflection of how she now sets herself up to a different level of dignity. She opened herself up to tough love, absorbed harsh criticisms to heart, and even found the humor in her failures, all while finding the grit necessary to continue pushing on. This humility began to form a life lived from within, no longer ruled by anyone else's rules. It wasn't perfection. It was about perseverance, learning, and claiming the journey, no matter how difficult. Janelle's tale is a testament that even when life surprises us, there is always a means to rise again stronger and more resolute than ever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more updates on a daily basis. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.